Chosen ones, have you noticed how people seem more disturbed by the favor on your life than by anything you've done? Could it be that their real frustration lies not with you, but with God's decision to entrust you with an anointing they could never bear? Your anointing stands like a blazing fire in the cold, illuminating everything around you and drawing both admiration and envy. It is not simply your presence but the undeniable force of favor that wraps around you like armor. People see it and feel it, even if they can't explain it. The intensity of your calling provokes them, gnaws at their insecurities, and pushes them into manipulative games they themselves do not fully understand. They watch you from the shadows, trying to mimic your steps, but their attempts fall short. The weight of what you carry cannot be imitated, only coveted. They are like moths, drawn to a flame they cannot comprehend, circling closer in hopes of stealing even a fraction of the light. But the truth remains. They cannot touch what was not meant for them. They lack the strength, the vision, and the spiritual depth to bear what is yours by divine decree. Their words, their actions, their intentions are often laced with falsehoods, attempts to undermine you while masking their own inadequacies. They scheme in corners, devising ways to diminish your influence because, deep down, they know they can never match it. The favor you carry suffocates their ambition, making them bitter in its wake. But be cautious, for this manipulation is not always obvious. Their smiles conceal their claws, their kindness veils resentment, and their praise is laced with envy. The truth cuts deep. Their frustration isn't truly directed at you. It festers toward the one who chose you. You are the vessel of a divine anointing that burns too bright for their jealous eyes. They stand on the edge, trembling at the sight of a power they cannot claim, a calling they were not chosen to carry. The bitterness they unleash upon you is nothing more than a misguided attempt to confront their own inadequacies before God. They envy your closeness to Him, the unmistakable favor that surrounds you like a shield of light. Yet, they cannot grasp that the anointing you bear is not a gift to be desired for its shine, but a mantle of responsibility, forged in the fires of trials they could never withstand. They gaze longingly at your relationship with God, but their hearts would collapse under the weight of the same burden. In their misunderstanding, they lash out, seeking to undermine you, not knowing they are fighting a battle against divine will. They covet what they cannot comprehend, their hands itching to possess what was never meant for them. What they fail to see is the magnitude of your calling, the sleepless nights, the spiritual wars, the unrelenting trials. They would crumble where you stand firm. Their issue is not with you, but with the God who entrusted you with what they could never survive. The anointing you carry is not a crown to be admired, but a mantle that weighs heavily on your spirit. It presses down like a storm on the horizon, testing your strength in ways those who envy you cannot fathom. They look at you and see the favor, the grace, but they are blind to the battles you fought, the sacrifices made in silence, and the deep scars that come from bearing the weight of your calling. This anointing is no fleeting gift. It is a fire that refines, a trial that purifies. God in His infinite wisdom chose you, knowing that not everyone could withstand the crushing responsibility. He saw in you a resolve, an endurance that others lack. Those who covet what you carry would crumble under the pressure. For the anointing is not just power. It is a relentless test of obedience, faith, and resilience. It demands everything from you. They long for the light they see in you, but they are ignorant of the cost. They would not survive the long nights of spiritual warfare, the isolation, the weight of intercession, or the sharpness of discernment that cuts deep. They think they want what you have, but the truth is, they would break under the very burden they envy. This mantle was not meant for them, and God knew their limits. He entrusted it to you, knowing you could carry what they never could. People covet the outward signs of your favor, drawn to the light that surrounds you like moths to a flame, but they do not understand the depths of what lies beneath. They crave the blessings you receive, the victories that seem effortless, and the success that flows from your anointing. Yet they turn a blind eye to the storms that rage behind the scenes. They see the fruit, but are ignorant of the crushing that precedes it. The betrayals, the spiritual warfare that strikes like lightning in the dead of night, and the relentless trials that test your faith. The truth is stark. They want your crown, but not your thorns. They would stumble under the weight of what you endure. They do not know the sacrifices required to carry this calling. It is a refining fire that burns away comfort and certainty, leaving behind only those strong enough to withstand the heat. They desire the favor, but they could never bear the spiritual pressure that constantly surrounds you. The battles in unseen realms, the isolation that comes with spiritual growth, the deep wounds left by those who should have stood by you. Many would falter where you stand firm, collapsing under the weight of attacks they do not even see. They are drawn to the surface-level glow, but lack the strength to survive the darkness that comes with it. What they envy would break them. Beware, for among those who walk beside you, there are wolves cloaked in the guise of allies, their teeth concealed behind soft words and empty praise. They move quietly, stalking your path, waiting for the moment you let your guard down. These wolves wear the skins of friends, feigning loyalty while nursing envy that festers beneath their surface. They smile, but their eyes are cold, fixed on what God has placed in your hands, coveting the gifts they were not chosen to bear. They do not openly strike. They worm their way into your circle, weaving a web of false support, hoping to dismantle you from within. Their true motive is not to celebrate your blessings, but to siphon from your anointing, to claim the favor they believe should be theirs. Their compliments are laced with hidden daggers. Their kindness is a mirage, and their presence is a threat wrapped in comfort. They crave what you carry, yet their hearts are too corrupted to hold it. God saw fit to withhold from them what he entrusted to you, and this truth gnaws at their souls. They cannot stand to watch you rise, so they seek to sabotage you, to drain your strength through deceit and manipulation. Be vigilant, chosen ones. Their smiles are fangs, their loyalty is a lie, and their goal is to tear down what they could never build. They want to steal what God has given you because they know it was never meant for them. Attention, chosen one. This is a call like no other. The Obsidian Inner Order, the #1 ascension nexus for chosen ones, has opened its gates, but only for those who can carry the mantle. Inside, over 400 fierce, committed souls have already taken their places, connecting in ways you'll find nowhere else. And let me be clear, this is not for everyone. Only those with solid mental fortitude, unbreakable character, and razor-sharp discernment need apply. If that's you, then now's the moment to step forward and claim your rightful place. The doors to knowledge are wide open in the Inner Order, granting you access to 3 profound chapters from the Modern Manifestation Mechanics Grimoire for Chosen Ones, each a tool to fortify your journey. Learn to arrange your living space as an abundance magnet, channel basic spellcraft to give your goals physical manifestation, and harness the 7 types of magical forces for your ascent. And we've just launched a full-length, exclusive video special for Star Chamber members only, diving deep into these magical forces. This content is too raw, too unfiltered for any mainstream platform. It's knowledge for chosen ones only, the kind you won't find on YouTube or anywhere else. If you're craving real connection with those who walk the same path, this is literally the only place on the internet where chosen ones gather in true kinship. But be warned, spots in the highly coveted Star Chamber are limited and are disappearing fast. The link to the Inner Order Patreon is in the description. Do you have the grit, the power, and the vision to step up? If so, the time is now. Join us. You, chosen ones, walk under a mantle of divine favor, and it provokes a deep bitterness in those who are too weak to understand its source. Even those who claim to follow God may rise against you, driven by envy that consumes their hearts like a poison. Their actions betray them. They seek shortcuts to power, to blessings, to the anointing that you carry. But the path they choose is twisted, leading them to manipulation and ungodly means in their desperate attempts to seize what God has given you freely. They whisper incantations in secret, turning to witchcraft and spiritual manipulation, hoping to bend the will of heaven to their desires. These attacks, subtle and relentless, are not mere words or actions. They are weapons aimed at your spirit, designed to disrupt your peace and fracture your connection to God. They do not understand that your anointing is not a prize to be won by deceit, but a responsibility gifted through obedience, forged in trials they could never survive. They seek what you have, not knowing that their very souls would be consumed by the weight of it. Their spiritual attacks are like arrows aimed at a fortress they cannot breach, for what they do not realize is that the power they crave was never something to be taken. It is guarded by the hands of God Himself, and no manipulation, no dark craft, can steal what was destined for you alone. Stay vigilant, for their envy will drive them to dangerous places. Your anointing is not a weight meant to crush you. It is a divine gift, forged in heaven and placed upon you because God knew you were capable. While others see the challenges and trials you face and call it a burden, they fail to see the truth. It is a gift wrapped in fire, purifying you for a purpose they could never endure. They envy the light that surrounds you, yet their hearts would break under the weight of what you carry. This is not a curse. It is a mantle reserved for the strong, for those chosen by God to walk paths others cannot tread. God placed this anointing on you because He saw your strength, your resilience, your unwavering spirit. Others may shrink in the face of adversity, but you stand firm, rooted in the knowledge that this calling is not a punishment, but a divine privilege. They may look at you and covet your favor, not realizing that what they call a burden would be their undoing. They long for the blessings without understanding the price, the fire that burns away the superficial, and leaves behind only those capable of withstanding the storm. You were chosen for this because God knew you would not crumble under its weight. Your anointing is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced, for it is a reflection of your strength and His trust in you. Let them envy, let them wonder. They will never know the true power of what you carry. The hatred you face is not born from simple dislike. It is the festering wound of envy. They look at you and wonder why the mantle of anointing rests upon your shoulders and not theirs. Their bitterness grows like a weed, choking out whatever goodness may have once existed in their hearts. They do not see the long nights of struggle, the battles fought in silence, or the spiritual weight you carry daily. Instead, they only see the favor, the light, and the blessings that flow from your anointing, and it gnaws at them, turning envy into hatred. Their hearts are not aligned with God, and deep down they know it. This is why they were not chosen, why the anointing never rested on them. If it had, they would have twisted it, used it to feed their pride, their desires, and their ambitions. They crave the power and blessings, yet they lack the purity of spirit required to wield such divine favor. The anointing would consume them, for their hearts are corrupted by selfishness and resentment. Their hatred is the smoke from the fire of envy, burning them from the inside out. They long for what you carry, but it is their own unworthiness that prevents them from receiving it. God saw the intentions of their hearts and withheld what they now crave, knowing they would misuse and destroy what was never meant for them. Their hatred is not for you, it is for their own unfulfilled desires. Not everyone who smiles at you is for you, chosen ones. The world is full of those who wear kindness like a mask, hiding their true intentions beneath a thin veil of false support. They step into your life with words of encouragement, but behind their eyes lurks envy, resentment, and a hunger to take what you have been divinely entrusted with. Their smiles are painted on, disguising the darkness that festers within them. And if you are not discerning, they will twist their way into your trust. Some are drawn to your anointing, not out of admiration, but out of jealousy. They see the favor resting on your life, the strength of your spirit, and the light that surrounds you, and they crave it with a bitterness that corrodes their hearts. They come to steal what is not theirs, to manipulate your faith and weaken your defenses. Their intentions are subtle, like poison that drips slowly into a well, seeking to taint your blessings, dim your light, and drain you of your divine gifts. You must stay vigilant, spiritually aware of those who move close to you with empty words and hollow praise. Discernment is your shield, for not every hand that reaches out to you is one of friendship. Some hands come with claws hidden beneath their palms, ready to strike when you least expect it. Guard your spirit, for there are wolves dressed as allies, and they hunger for what they can never truly possess. God's choice was deliberate. Chosen ones. Before you ever drew your first breath, He saw the depths of your heart, the untapped strength within your soul, and the potential that would bloom through trials only you could endure. He knew that many would covet what you have, yet few could carry the weight of this anointing without being crushed by it. Your calling is not accidental. It is the result of divine foresight, a gift placed on you because God saw in you what others never will. He knew who would use this gift for His glory, who would walk the narrow path even when the world mocked or misunderstood. He saw the loyalty in your spirit, the faith that would stand firm in the face of doubt and adversity. Others may question why it was not given to them, why they were left wanting, but their hearts were not prepared for such a burden. They would have taken this anointing and twisted it, using it for selfish gain, for power, or to feed their pride. God's decision was perfect, and no human envy or resentment can change it. Trust in His wisdom, for He saw the entirety of your being, both the weakness and the strength, and still chose you. While others may rail against it, unable to accept why they were passed over, you were chosen because you could carry this calling with grace, humility, and purpose. The truth is stark. Those who envy you could never survive the trials you've endured. They see your strength, your anointing, and the favor that surrounds you. But they are blind to the fires that forged you. They long for what you have, but they do not know the depths of the struggles that shaped you. The weight you carry would crush them. The battles you faced would tear them apart. They desire the crown, but they would shatter under the pressure of the cross. God did not choose you by accident. He saw the resilience in you long before the trials ever came. He knew that your spirit, though tested, would not break. The very things that others would flee from, the hardships that would unravel their hearts, are the fires through which you have emerged stronger, refined by suffering. They covet your blessings but would never withstand the sleepless nights of warfare, the betrayals that pierced your soul, or the relentless storms that sought to drown you. This is why God entrusted you with this calling. He knew that your heart, tempered by hardship, would endure when others would crumble. What they envy would overwhelm them. The weight of spiritual battles, the solitude of standing apart, the cost of walking in your calling. They cannot handle what you carry because it was never meant for them. The mantle rests on you because only you can bear it with grace, strength, and purpose. You're not alone, chosen ones. Even Jesus, walking in divine purpose, faced the venom of envy and hatred from those who could not grasp the magnitude of His calling. His very presence unsettled them, stirring up jealousy in hearts that could not bear the light He carried. They watched as miracles unfolded, as grace poured from Him like a river. And instead of seeking understanding, they chose to turn against Him. They could not handle who He truly was, and their hearts were poisoned by the weight of their own insecurities. In the same way, you provoke envy simply by walking in what God has called you to do. They see the favor on your life, the undeniable authority you move in, and it disturbs them. They cannot comprehend why you were chosen, why you bear the anointing that they crave but cannot touch. Their hearts, like those who envied Jesus, are filled with resentment because your very existence reflects a divine purpose they cannot understand. But just as Jesus did, you must continue walking in your purpose, unshaken by their opinions or attempts to diminish you. The weight of their envy is nothing compared to the power of your calling. They cannot handle who you are in God, because they do not see the sacrifice, the cost, or the divine hand that selected you. Keep moving forward, knowing that, like Jesus, your purpose is too great to be hindered by their misunderstanding. In these deceptive times, you must cling to God with unwavering devotion. The world around you teems with subtle threats, hands reaching out to take what was never theirs to hold. They see the light of your anointing and hunger for it, seeking to steal or taint it through manipulation, deceit, or outright envy. But God is your shield. and He alone knows the path you must walk. He has entrusted you with this divine gift, knowing full well the weight of the calling and the opposition that would rise against you. Guard your anointing as fiercely as a lion protects its cubs. This is not something to be given away, diluted, or compromised. Stay discerning, for not every smile is sincere, and not every word of praise is pure. Some approach you with honey on their tongues and poison in their hearts, hoping to siphon your strength, joy, and purpose. But God will open your eyes to see through the masks, to perceive the intentions hidden behind kind faces. Do not allow anyone to rob you of the joy that comes with walking in your purpose. They cannot take what God has planted within you unless you let them. Remain close to Him, for in His presence, your anointing is safeguarded. He will protect you from those who seek to drain you, and He will strengthen you to stand firm. Let no one steal what is rightfully yours, for your anointing is a sacred trust between you and God. Chosen ones, you walk through daily life carrying a weight others will never understand. Whether it's at work, where colleagues quietly see that your successes, or among acquaintances who pretend to celebrate you but secretly harbor envy, the truth remains. They are not upset with you. They are angry with God for choosing you. They see the favor on your life but are blind to the sacrifices, the sleepless nights, and the spiritual battles you've endured. What they desire would break them, and that's why it was never meant for them. Every day, people try to insert themselves into your life, offering false praise or subtle manipulation, hoping to extract what God has given you. But remember, they could never carry what you've been entrusted with. Stay vigilant. The attacks may come through small comments, veiled insults, or disloyal actions, but none of it can touch you unless you allow it. God chose you for this path, knowing your strength, your resilience, and your ability to walk through fire without being consumed. Now, it's time to walk boldly in your anointing. Stay focused, remain discerning, and never let anyone make you question why God chose you. Share your story with others. Speak of the trials, the victories, and the unseen battles. Let your testimony inspire others who carry the same divine calling, reminding them that they too are chosen for something greater.